Herbert Baumeister, an American businessman, was suspected of being a serial killer in the early 1990s. He lived in Westfield, Indiana, and was under investigation for the disappearance of over a dozen men, mostly seen at gay bars. The police discovered the remains of 11 men, 8 of whom were identified, on his property. When an arrest warrant was issued, Baumeister took his own life. He was later linked to a series of murders of at least 11 men along Interstate 70, spanning from the early 1980s to the early 1990s. Thank you all for support so far. If you like this type of content, consider subscribing to my channel. Takes only a second and means a lot. You can always change it later. Let's continue with the video, shall we? Herb Baumeister, born on April 7, 1947, in Indianapolis, Indiana, was the oldest of 4 children in his family. His upbringing seemed ordinary, but signs of antisocial behavior emerged during his adolescence. Friends recalled his peculiar fascination with urine and disturbing habits like playing with dead animals and urinating on teachers' desks. Concerned by his behavior, his father, a doctor, had him undergo mental examinations, leading to diagnoses of paranoid schizophrenia and antisocial personality disorder. However, Herb did not receive further psychiatric treatment.
Baumeister's teenage years were marked by isolation as he struggled to fit in at North Central High School, where sports were the predominant focus. He withdrew from social circles, spent much of his time alone, and rarely dated. He briefly attended Indiana University in 1965 before dropping out, later returning in 1967. He also spent a semester at Butler University in 1972. As an adult, he held various jobs, known for his strong work ethic, but also for increasingly eccentric behavior. In November 1971, Baumeister married Juliana Julie Sater, and they had 3 children. However, their marriage was distant, with minimal intimacy. 6 months into their marriage, Herb's father committed him to a psychiatric hospital for 2 months, citing his need for help. Despite these challenges, Herb Baumeister achieved success in 1988 by founding the Save-A-Lot thrift store chain in Indianapolis. In 1994, his son discovered a partially buried human skeleton in the family's backyard, which Herb claimed was one of his father's dissection skeletons.
He stored it in the garage and later reburied it in the garden after cleaning the garage. The I-70 Strangler is an unidentified American serial killer responsible for a series of gruesome murders that occurred between June 1980 and October 1991 in Indiana and Ohio. The killer targeted at least 11 young boys and adult men, selecting his victims from popular gay bars and similar establishments within a 4-block radius in Indianapolis. After their unfortunate encounters, all the victims met a tragic end, as they were later discovered either naked or partially clothed near Interstate 70, often discarded in remote locations like rivers, streams, and ditches in rural areas. Each of these victims had one grim similarity: they had all been strangled to death. Despite the passage of time and the efforts of law enforcement, the identity of the I-70 Strangler remains a mystery. However, in April 1999, Herb Baumeister emerged as the prime suspect in the case according to investigators. Notably, the gruesome discoveries related to the I-70 Strangler case ceased in 1991, coinciding with Baumeister's acquisition of Fox Hollow Farm, which he would later use as a burial site for his subsequent victims. Among the victims were individuals like 15-year-old Michael Sean Petrie, who was discovered naked in rural Hamilton County, Indiana, in 1980. Despite his young age, he was involved in the risky life of a male prostitute, primarily frequenting gay bars in Indianapolis. Tragically, he was reported missing before his lifeless body was found, showing signs of strangulation. Another victim, Morris Allen Taylor, age 22, was discovered without his shirt near Weasel Creek in rural Hamilton County in 1982. While the exact cause of death remained uncertain, law enforcement suspected strangulation. Taylor, struggling with financial difficulties, resorted to offering sexual services around gay bars. Delvoyd Lee Baker, just 14 years old, was found semi-nude near a river in Hamilton County in 1982. During the investigation, Witnesses reported seeing Baker boarding a blue van driven by a young white man with a bushy mustache on the evening of his disappearance. Tragically, it was revealed that Baker had been involved in prostitution near gay bars in the months leading up to his disappearance. The victims also included Michael Andrew Mick Riley, Eric Allen Roetger, Michael Allen Mike Glenn, James Boyd Robbins Jr., Stephen Lynn Elliott, Clay Russell Boatman, Thomas Ray Clevenger Jr., and Otto Gary Becker, each meeting a tragic fate. These chilling cases remain unsolved, leaving unanswered questions about the I-70 Strangler and the mysterious circumstances surrounding these horrific crimes. In the summer of 1996, a disturbing discovery sent shockwaves through Westfield, Indiana. Investigators uncovered human bone fragments from the wooded grounds of Fox Hollow Farm, an 18-acre property owned by Herb Baumeister, located near 156th Street and the Monon Trail. This macabre find raised questions and unearthed a gruesome tale. Fast forward to December 4, 2022, when a renewed search in the area revealed not only one more bone, but also identified 20 additional locations where more remains might be concealed beneath the Earth's surface. The investigation, spanning decades, has led to the identification of 8 individuals among the discovered remains. However, the identities of the remaining 3 victims remain shrouded in mystery. They are all believed to be male and suspected victims of homicide. The Hamilton County Coroner's Office has made a heartfelt plea to the public, urging anyone with information about missing family members who disappeared between the mid-80s and mid-90s in the Indianapolis area to step forward. They are encouraging individuals to undergo DNA testing, hoping to bring closure to the families of the unidentified victims and shed light on this chilling chapter of history. Among those whose lives were tragically cut short were John Lee Johnny Bayer, Jeffrey Allen Jeff Jones, Richard Douglas Hamilton Jr., Manuel Resendez, Stephen Sperlin Hale, Alan Wayne Broussard, Roger Allen Goodlett, and Michael Frederick Mike Kieran. Each of them left an indelible mark on their loved ones, and the search for answers continues as investigators strive to unravel the mysteries surrounding the Fox Hollow Farm killings. In addition to the known victims, authorities have publicly connected 2 unsolved disappearances of young men in Indianapolis during the 1990s to Herb Baumeister. Alan Lee Livingston, 27, vanished from downtown Indianapolis on August 6, 1993, and has never been heard from since. His disappearance coincided with that of another confirmed victim of Baumeister, Manuel Resendez, whose body was discovered buried on Baumeister's Fox Hollow Farm estate in Westfield, Indiana. 2 years later, Jerry Williams Cummer, age 34, was last seen in Indianapolis on August 8, 1995. Following his disappearance, his vehicle was located at Castleton Square Mall. Although they were never found on Baumeister's property, both Livingston and Williams Cummer, as young gay men, fit the profile of Baumeister's victims, further adding to the haunting mystery surrounding his actions. In the early 1990s, authorities from the Marion County Sheriff's Department and the Indianapolis Police Department initiated an investigation into a series of disappearances involving gay men who shared similar characteristics, such as age, height, and weight, within the Indianapolis area. The turning point came in 1992 when they received information from Tony Harris, who suspected that a patron of a gay bar, using the name Brian Smart, may have been responsible for the disappearance of his friend, Roger Goodlett. Harris based his suspicions on Brian Smart's unsettling interest in Goodlett's missing persons case and a harrowing encounter during an erotic asphyxiation session at his mansion, which had originated from their meeting at the local Indianapolis gay bar, the 501 Club. Remarkably, Harris crossed paths with this individual again in August 1995 and noted his license plate number. The mysterious Brian Smart was eventually identified as Herb Baumeister. Investigators confronted Baumeister about his potential involvement in the disappearances, prompting a request to search his residence. Both Baumeister and his wife, Julie, initially refused the search. However, as Julie became increasingly alarmed by her husband's erratic behavior, she filed for divorce and consented to a search of their property in June 1996. The search unfolded while Baumeister was away on vacation, ultimately revealing the remains of 11 men, with 8 of them successfully identified. As authorities obtained a warrant for Baumeister's arrest, he fled to Ontario, where tragedy struck. In a heartbreaking turn of events, he took his own life at Pinery Provincial Park on Lake Huron, using a .357 Magnum handgun to end his life. Baumeister left behind a 3-page suicide note, written on yellow notepaper. In it, he expressed regret for the state of the park and his failed marriage and business, but made no mention of the victim's remains or any admission of guilt. He also detailed aspects of his journey, including his original intention to end his life at a different location. However, encountering children there led him to reconsider. His final meal consisted of a simple peanut butter sandwich. The chilling story of Herb Baumeister has captured the attention of various media outlets over the years. It first made its mark on television with the A&E series Investigative Reports, which aired an episode titled The Secret Life of a Serial Killer in 1997. History Channel's Perfect Crimes also delved into the case. Baumeister's dark tale continued to be the subject of fascination, featuring in numerous shows like The Investigators on Choru TV in 2008, Behind Mansion Walls on Investigation Discovery, ID, Paranormal Witness on Sci-Fi in 2012, and an episode of Ghost Adventures in May 2014. In the world of podcasts, the Crime Junkie podcast explored the Baumeister case on March 4, 2018. The Monster Presence Insomniac podcast dedicated a 2-part episode to the case on June 27, 2019. Even international podcasts like Mexico's Leyendas Legendarias discussed the case on October 14, 2020. Notably, Georgia Hardstark covered the case in episode 67, Live at the Egyptian Room, during a live performance of the podcast My Favorite Murder in Indianapolis. The enduring intrigue surrounding this chilling case continues to captivate audiences across various media platforms. Truly heart-wrenching tale that delve into a bunch of problems in society involving young people. Let's not forget the victims. Thank you all who stick until the end of the video. If you liked it, please comment down below your opinion on this case, or if you have any recommendations on some others cases I should cover. I am Alex, and this is Conundrum. Stay curious and stay safe.